Hello students, the experiment that we are going to perform today is to determine the value of g, that is acceleration due to gravity, using a bar pendulum. The apparatus being shown to you here on screen is a bar pendulum. Let's discuss this apparatus which we are going to use to find the value of g. First of all, this metal strip is a bar pendulum. Then this part, this is the rigid support with the help of which this bar pendulum is hanged on to this wall. Thirdly, then we have this part. These are the knife edges. As you can see in the picture, this is round from one side and it is pointed from the another end. Like it is round from this side and it is pointed here. This is a closer view. Similarly, you can see on the another side, this is a knife edge. In addition to this, we also need a stopwatch and a meter scale to perform this experiment. Now let's discuss the formula to be used for this experiment. T is equal to 2 pi under root L by G, where T is the time period of pendulum, L is the length of the pendulum, and G is the acceleration due to gravity. That is, G is equal to 4 pi square L divided by T square. After formula, let's discuss the procedure for this experiment. First of all, we have to suspend this metal bar or this bar pendulum vertically onto this rigid support using these knife edges. As already discussed, this is a knife edge which is round from one side and pointed on the another side. Similarly, on the another side, there is a knife edge. This too is pointed towards the center of gravity and the another side is round. Then to start the experiment, we have to fix this knife edge onto one hole. As we can see, there are 19 holes on this bar pendulum. Like this is one, this is the second hole, this is the third hole, this is the fourth one, then this is the fifth one, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. This is the 10th hole. Then 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th, then 17th and then 18th, and finally this one is the 19th hole. So as we can see, there are 9 holes on one side and 9 holes on the another side, and the 10th hole that we call as a center of gravity, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this 10th hole is the center of gravity. All these holes are equidistant from each other. Now to start the experiment, we have to make this metal bar or this bar pendulum oscillate. But we have to ensure that this oscillates through a very smaller angle, that is only to 4 or 5 degrees. Like here, this bar pendulum is hanged on to this rigid support at first hole using this knife edge. We have to ensure that if it is in the first hole, on the another side too, this knife edge is fixed onto the first hole. Now we have to start the oscillations. We have to displace it to a very small angle. As soon as the oscillation starts, we have to switch on the stopwatch. Like it is displaced. And as soon as the first oscillation is completed, we have to switch on the stopwatch. Side by side, we have to count the number of oscillations. As soon as it completes 20 oscillations, we have to stop our stopwatch. Like we release it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then 20. At the 20th oscillation, we stop this stopwatch. The time with us is 31 seconds. So once we have taken the readings for 20 oscillations, we have to turn this bar pendulum upside down. Like this. We have to place it in the rigid support. And then again, we have to start the oscillations. Displacing it to a very small angle. We have to note down the time period for 20 oscillations. Once this set of readings is complete, we have to take it out of this rigid support, and then we have to open these knife edges. Like, we'll unscrew it and open. Once we have opened this, then we have to fix it onto the second hole, taking due care that this pointed part is always towards the center of gravity. Ensure that it is very tightly fixed so that it does not move during the experiment. If we have shifted this from first hole to another, we also have to ensure that this side too, the knife edge is open and it is put onto the second hole. Again, taking care that the pointed part is always towards the center of gravity. Just ensure that it is screwed properly and this pointed part is towards the center of gravity. Then again, we are going to hang it onto this rigid support using knife edges. Once it is hanged, then again we have to start the oscillations. Then we have to repeat it for second hole. After second hole, from both sides, then we will have to shift it on to the third hole, then fourth hole, then fifth hole, then sixth hole, then seventh hole, then eighth hole, and then ninth hole. For all these holes, we have to take note down the time period for 20 oscillations for all these holes for both sides of this bar pendulum. We have conducted the complete experiment. The readings that we would be having are time period of 20 oscillations at each hole and the distance of each hole from the center of gravity. This is the 10th hole, that was the center of gravity. All the holes are equidistant from each other and distance between the two holes is 5 centimeters. So if we have conducted the experiment at the first hole, means the knife edge was in the first hole, the distance from the center of gravity was 5. The distance from the center of gravity was 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 and 45 centimeters. Similarly, for this hole, that is the second hole, the distance from the center of gravity would be 40 centimeters, then 35, then 30, 25, 20, 15, 10 and then 5. This is the 10th hole, this is the center of gravity. And similarly, this is 5 centimeters, then 10, then 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 and 45 centimeters. Once we have taken all the observations, let's move on to the observation table. So as we know, we had two sides of the bar pendulum, side A and side B. Like, let this side be side A and the another side be side B. That is, for side A, time period for 20 oscillations as we noted down on the stopwatch. This was the first reading and this would be the second reading. Then we are going to take the mean of it. Then this is T is the time period. Time period would be mean of 20 oscillations divided by 20. That is the time period for one oscillation. This is the hole number. That is in which hole we placed the knife edge. Was it in the first hole or the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth or sixth or seventh or eighth or ninth hole. Then was the distance from the center of gravity. As I discussed, all the holes are equidistant from each other. Each hole is at a distance of 5 centimeters from each other. So again, coming on to the bar pendulum, like this was the center of gravity and here the knife edge is placed at second from top, or we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eighth hole from the center of gravity. So it would be 40 centimeters. We have to note down the reading in centimeters. We can also do it with the meter scale. So this would be the center of gravity. Similarly, we are going to write the readings for side B, that is time period for 20 oscillations, then time period for one oscillation, that is the mean of these divided by 20, then hole number, and then the distance from the center of gravity. Once we have all these readings, we are going to plot a graph between time period T and the distance from the center of gravity. Once I take all the readings, I'll just share with you all the readings and the graph I plot with these readings. Thank you.